So you want to get rich, huh? You want to be able to afford anything your heart could desire in Disney Dreamlight Valley. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've come to the right place because in today's video, we're going to be going over hands down the best way to make money in Disney Dreamlight Valley. Now, because of my previous videos and live streams, many of you already know that farming is the best way to make money. But the problem is, there's a lot of different crops that you're going to be unlocking as you unlock new zones in Disney Dreamlight Valley, which means, what's the best crop to plant to be able to make money? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've done all of the testing and all of the math, at least for all of the zones that I currently have unlocked. We do have all the information for all of the other crops that are available later in the game as well, so we can easily surmise what the best crop to plant and make money from in Disney Dreamlight Valley is. Also, just a solid tip. When you're harvesting lots of crops with one of your farming buddies, like one of the farming villagers, which absolutely 100% make sure you give at least one of your villagers the farming perk, so that way when you hang out with them, they're going to help you get a ton. Like once they're hit level 10, they're going to get you so many extra crops. It's ridiculous. You're basically doubling and sometimes even tripling the amount of resources that you get. It's insane. The tip you need to know is that while you're gathering these, make sure that you stop every once in a while and just pick up all the little extra pieces, because if you don't pick them up quick enough, they will actually stop being blue and you won't be able to pick them up automatically when you run over them, which is going to make you spend more time doing farming. Now, I think it's usually about like maybe every 30 to 45 seconds is when I would stop and pick things up, so that way you don't have to go back. And if you haven't picked up your limited edition Aragon plushie, there's only 12 days left to pick one up on Makeship before they're gone forever. Link in the description. Now, in my previous money-making and leveling up guide, we went over some of the best crops to plant in the early game and how to level up very fast. Now, I do still have to say that when you first start playing Disney Dreamlight Valley, that carrots are still going to be one of your best money makers. But there's a couple things that we have to go into when discussing crops that I think is very important. Because when you unlock new areas, you're going to notice that when you go to plant new crops, you're going to see arrows. Now, these arrows mean that the crop will grow better in this particular climate. So carrots are going to grow really good down here in the meadow, and this is where you're going to want to plant your carrots. If you still want quick money, carrots are going to be pretty great for it, but there's not the end-all be-all of money making by any means. You'll notice here that carrots grow in 15 minutes. So depending on how many carrots you plant, you could potentially make, a couple thousand gold every 15 minutes, depending on how large your crops are, or your plots are, which is pretty awesome. And this is the best early game food that you can grow until you unlock your second or third area. So tomatoes, I still wouldn't, tomatoes are cool and all because you need them for crafting other things, but carrots are still better for money making. But once you unlock the Forest of Valor, you're going to unlock the ability to buy the best crop in the game to make money. Now, once you unlock the Forest of Valor, you're going to want to repair Goofy's stand here. And then once you repair the stand, you're going to want to upgrade it at least once to unlock the canola seeds. You can't upgrade it all the way to get the onions. They cost more to buy, and they also take twice as long to grow. So canola seed is actually the better moneymaker. Now, a stack is going to cost you 2,475 gold, which really isn't that bad. I already own 423 of these, but we're going to grow them right in the same area as well. Now, you can actually move your teleporter, and if you wanted to and wanted to be really smart, you can move it right next to where your crops are, and that way you can hop over, plant and or water whatever you need to do. Now, the great thing about the canola is if we go to the collections here and go to ingredients, you're going to see down here that you can buy them in the Forest of Valor, which is also where they need to grow. They grow in 35 minutes, and they sell for 109 gold a piece, which is pretty awesome because they grow so fast. You can make a ton of money in here. It's actually the best crop in the game because of the speed and the amount of money that it sells for. There will be some better later in the game, but they take much longer time to grow. Like the pumpkin is going to take 4 hours to grow, and you make 664 gold. So you can actually do, I don't know, an exponentially more canola than you will be able to do of any other crop. So it's by far the best crop in the game. I could get into all the math and really bore you with all of it, but long story short, canola's awesome. Get yourself some canola and make a giant field of canola. Also, make sure that while you're planting your large crops that you have your buddies with you, so that way they're leveling up. You don't have to have a farming buddy with you while you're planting the crops, but when you go to harvest the crops, make sure you have the farming villager with you. Now, I also highly recommend bringing food with you while you're doing this. You can make seafood soup, which is pretty awesome. It's just 1 seafood and 2 vegetables. Now, if you're feeling spicy, you can do what I do to make food and extra money at the same time. Once you have Remy's unlocked, you're gonna have cheese, milk, eggs, and butter here. You're going to want to buy a bunch of each of these if you have the money to. And what we can do is we can actually make soufflés. Now, I want to be able to make food and money at the same time. So what I end up doing is buying a bunch of ingredients for the soufflés, which is 1 cheese, egg, milk, and butter. So you can get it all from Remy's. And once you have the recipe unlocked, you can kind of just do this autofill thing and then cook it real fast. And what I'll do is I'll make a bunch of these all at once, and then I'll sell half of them and keep the other half for food. This typically means I'll either make a little bit of money or break even on my food, and that way I never go without energy and I can still make money from it. You actually make a profit of about 400 gold if you buy all the ingredients and then make the souffle. Now, I've also got a lot of questions if you can plant crops in other zones, and while you could plant the canola seeds in the meadow if you so desired, like I can do it right here, from the testing that I've done, it's going to take about twice as long to grow, so I do not by any means recommend planting crops outside of the zone that they're meant to, unless you just don't specifically care about optimizing the amount of time. Now, I have planted canola down here plenty of times because I just didn't want to make a bigger crop plot up there, and this is where I like hanging out most of the time. So by all means, you can do it. You just won't be making as money as fast as if you're doing it in the zone they're meant to grow in. Now, I figured it would be good to show just how much money I'm going to make in these 35 minutes from 180 crop plots. I should have done an even 200, but I ran out of room. But with 180 crop plots with a level 10 farming villager, we are going to make almost a stupid amount of money, because you can see already as we're about to finish harvesting all of these how much canola oil we'll have. It's so frustrating when Goofy goes right on top of the thing that would get you even more money. It's got to be the most infuriating process too, like when you start picking it all up, like multiple harvesting that spot, and then he runs up in front of you and says, "Hey, I'm Goofy," and ruins your entire life. If that could be fixed, that would be great. But yeah, 180 crop plots, and we ended up with, so that's 100, 200, 375 canola oil. That is amazing. So just about double the amount of canola oil than what we bought. Now let's see how much money we're gonna make from this. So we want to sell all 50. 16,000, 21,000, right around 40,000 I think is where we're going to end up. Yep, 40.8 thousand gold in 35 minutes. That's not bad. And the best thing about it is that you don't have to sit there the entire time. You can plant your crops and then you can go about your business and do other things. Like, you can make a decent amount of money actually just crafting those soufflés, but you have to sit there and you have to do it the entire time. But I'd rather, you know, go around and play the game a bit while waiting to make my money. But anyways, I do hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you all get rich and all of your Disney Dreamlight Valley dreams come true.